bill has been introduced to pause U.S. data center construction. Google began rolling out Search Live globally, and Apple discontinued the Mac Pro. It's Friday, March 27th, and here's a quick look at tech news this morning from Engadget. So, file this one under things that might have a shot after the midterms. On Wednesday, Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez introduced the Artificial Intelligence Data Center Moratorium Act. The bill would require an immediate pause on data center construction until specific new regulations were passed. The legislation aims to address the problem that AI is advancing faster than Washington's regulatory response, which is basically none, has kept pace. Despite its benefits, the technology poses grave threats to the job market and the environment. Rapidly advancing deepfakes could soon leave people unable to determine truth from fiction. That is, more than online propaganda already has. AI also makes mass surveillance easier than ever, potentially giving unelected tech leaders unfettered control over society. The bill would mandate not only an immediate pause on new data center construction, but also on the upgrading of existing ones. Now, this moratorium would only be lifted after one or more laws were passed to provide federal oversight of AI products. First, AI products would need to be proven safe for humanity. That includes not just physical safety, but also areas like civil rights, privacy, and public health. The wealth AI generates would need to be shared with the American people, not just the billionaire tech bros pulling the strings. Protections would need to be in place to safeguard against mass unemployment. Increasingly, companies are flat out admitting that their layoffs are due to AI automation. Now, the legislation would also require future data centers to be environmentally safe. They would need to avoid increasing electricity or other utility bills for Americans. AI data centers would have to create union jobs with strong labor standards. Communities affected by them would be empowered to approve or reject their construction or upgrades, and no government subsidies could be provided for them. Now, on the one hand, these could be popular proposals. In a December poll, 60% of Americans, including majorities of Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, said they supported more AI regulation. However, in Washington's current environment, don't get your hopes up. AI companies are pouring enormous sums of money into campaigns for both political parties. The industry spent at least $83 million in federal elections last year, and that was an off year without national elections. And of course, anti-regulatory Republicans currently control the presidency, both chambers of Congress, and essentially the Supreme Court. So, fat chance it goes anywhere right now. But depending on how the midterms and beyond shake out, who knows? One can dream, right? Following a false start last week, Google has begun rolling out Search Live globally. The tool allows you to point your phone's camera at an object or scene and ask questions about what you see in front of you. With today's expansion, Google is making Search Live available in every location and language where it offers its AI mode chatbot. With that, people in more than 200 countries and territories can use Search Live to get answers to their questions. Behind the expansion is Google's Gemini 3.1 Flash Live model. Now, according to the company, the new AI system was designed to be natively multilingual and capable of more natural conversations. It should also be more reliable and faster. Separately from Search Live, Google is bringing Live Translate to iOS. Live Translate, if you need a reminder, allows you to put on a pair of headphones and get a real-time translation of what another person is saying. With today's announcement, Google is also bringing the feature to more countries, including Germany, Italy, Spain, Japan, and the UK, across both Android and iOS. Now, all told, Live Translate can now understand more than 70 languages and work with any set of headphones. Apple confirmed to Engadget that the Mac Pro, the desktop tower-shaped computer that was last updated in 2023, has been discontinued. As 9to5Mac noted, the computer no longer appears in the lineup of Macs on Apple's website or in its storefront. That means, at least for now, the Mac Studio is Apple's top-of-the-line professional computer. The current version of the Mac Pro was introduced in 2019 with a distinct cheese grater design, Intel chips, and a bevy of easily accessible expansion slots. Apple released the computer as a make-good for several years of inadequately meeting the performance needs of professional Mac users, but its uncontested time at the top of the company's lineup was short-lived. A year later, in 2020, Apple began transitioning to its custom M-series ARM chips, proving Macs could be more powerful and power-efficient by abandoning Intel entirely. Apple eventually updated the Mac Pro to the M2 Ultra without updating the computer's design, but by then the writing was on the wall. The far smaller Mac Studio, introduced in 2022, also supported the new chip, and it's been updated since then while the Mac Pro has languished. Bloomberg reported Apple was planning to retire the Mac Pro last November, so it's not all that surprising the company quietly pulled the plug a few months later. Apple's effort to cater to professionals, creatives, and anyone with a chunk of change to drop on a fast computer lives on through the Mac Studio and the recently announced Studio Display XDR, itself a replacement for the Pro Display XDR Apple announced for the 2019 Mac Pro. Now, all the company needs to do is update the Mac Studio with an M5 Max chip to make it the most pro computer Apple offers. Thanks for listening. There's more tech news at Engadget.com. This episode featured journalism from Will Shanklin, Igor Bonifasic, and Ian Carlos Campbell. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll be back on Monday with more tech news from Engadget.